Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, all praise, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Arachak, Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone that rule well. And as always, peace, blessings, and salutations unto those for like tabernacle of David scattered abroad across the four winds of the earth. Now, in this lesson, I'm going to focus on these gradual rollouts where, several countries around the world are adopting the digital ID, digital currency layout. And as we get closer into that day, you're going to see more of this rollout, with more countries developing this system. And this is all really to program the masses, for the bigger plot, which is basically to eventually absorb into the MOTB system. All right. So I think the Apostle Tahar had already put up a brief video on this. And I think I might have did a compilation, where I was, putting up, the different pilot programs in certain countries that are already using digital IDs, to identify their citizens. All right. So you see everything is moving into this biometric process where all things will be monitored and traced through your data information, all right, and physical contact, whether it be through iris scan, facial recognition, fingerprint. You're starting to see that it's starting to become more physical. All right, with you being identified based on your physical. All right, because pretty soon, they will phase out the ID card, something that you still have to pull out. All right, they want to try to make things as contactless as possible, which is why they're phasing out paper money, fiat currency, ID cards. And the focus is basically you, your body, because they're trying to blur the lines. All right. What did Klaus Schwab say? We're trying to blur the lines between what do you say? Science, biology, and technology. Okay. So we're here, man. All right. The vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. So this right here, this is dealing with the biometric CERP in Mexico. All right. What is it? What it's for, and what happens if you don't apply? All right. Because soon you're going to have to adopt into the system, basically participate, but you're going to be phased out. And that's ultimately a test run for the MOT to the B. We know, according to the prophecy, if you don't receive that charagma, they're going to phase you out. All right. You won't have an identity in this digital Tower of Babel. So let me play this real quick.
Gradual implementation of the biometric CERP has already begun, a new official document that seeks to update the National Population Registry and confirm the legal identity of millions of Mexicans. This modern version of the unique population registry key includes more precise data such as photographs, fingerprints, and electronic signatures, which will strengthen security and prevent cases of identity theft. For now, the process is voluntary and free, but it is estimated that by 2026 it will be an essential requirement to carry out educational, medical, legal, or financial procedures, as well as to access social programs.
See that? So you're going to need that to identify, your legal records, your medical records, your citizenship, your financial record. All that's going to go on your digital identification. So this is what they're rolling out in Mexico. Let me run this back.
Identity theft. For now, the process is voluntary and free, but it is estimated that
And they're saying it like, yeah, it's convenient because nobody will be able to steal that from you. Or your identity will not be stolen. This will prevent identity theft. Now, right now, we have, ID cards, your driver's license. You have a social security card, with the social security number on it. Right now, that's considered your identification. But just wait till he issue that CHIP. All that information will be transferred and will be on that little device. Now, that way he can see everything, all right, in digital form. I wouldn't be surprised if, especially with all these AI, biometric technology, all these, smart cities they're trying to develop, Silicon Valley inspired projects. When Esau institutes or sets up the MOTB where everybody got to receive it, the robots, the drones, basically all the robotics or the technology that you come in contact with, I wouldn't be surprised if everything is going to have sensors where it would be able to read, all your information through that device, wherever you go, wherever you walk. That chip will be constantly being read, all right, through all these different tracking systems everywhere you go. All right, that's ultimately what's going to happen. All right, as soon as you walk through this door to go into this store or, this event, this stadium or whatever, you already know. You put your hand out. As a matter of fact, we have a reader for your brain, a scan for your brain, and then that's how we can pull up your information and see, the amount of digital credits you have. Watch, man. And this is the ultimate way of lording over the world through this type of device. Like the scriptures say, lest Satan should get an advantage of us if we're not ignorant of his devices. And also, these nations, they love to lord. Let me do this. Where Yahushua basically said that the heathens, they exercise lordship. And that's what this whole new system is. This digital Tower Babel is just so that the elite can lord over the world. Was that Mark 10? It is Mark 10 and 42, and this was Yahushua responding to his disciples. Mark 10 and 42. And it says, but Yahushua called them to him and said unto them, you know that they which are accounted to rule over the Gentiles exercise lordship over them. And Esau, he has that God complex anyway, so he wants to be like the Most High. All right, the Most High, he rules in the kingdom of men. All right, but they think that, they're the ones that's ruling on their own behalf. No, the Lord got you double set up. All right, just for the same purpose that he set Pharaoh up. Because Pharaoh, he had a God complex too. Look at what my Magi's can do. Moses, oh, you performing supernatural activities? Okay, well, hey, John Reed's his Magi's. Yeah, get in here and show Moses what we can do. So they exercise lordship. All right, it says, and their great ones exercise authority upon them. And we know that the beast, unto him was given authority. Okay. Revelation 13. Revelation 13:2, it says, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power. The dragon representing the first Roman Empire. All right, and this system is modeled after the ancient Roman Empire. All right, ideologically. Okay, you have replicas of the architecture here in Babylon and in parts of Europe. So you got the Roman Colosseums, and so on and so forth. Different examples. Roman gods. So they have the power of the first beast. Right? It says, and his seat and great authority. Okay. Let's look up that word authority. And the word is exousia. And it says power of choice, liberty of doing as one pleases, leave of permission, physical and mental power, the ability or strength which one is exuded, which he either possesses or exercises. It says the power of authority, influence, and of right privilege. All right, so they can grant you, your privileges, and they also would have the power to strip you or take away your privileges. And Trump signing he signed all types of executive orders the moment he got in office. All right. And now people are starting to feel threatened because he's making changes, and now it's no longer beginning to feel like the America that, society is being used to. And that's why they having these protests everywhere. People online complaining. We need to do something about this government that sold us out. Blase, basically sparking sedition. And Trump already knew it. That's why he, using the blame of Jake, of course, but he needed an excuse to, put these troops out. Send in the National Guard in these different places because they fear that there's going to be a sedition, insurrection. People going too long without their necessities, their livelihood. All right. More, crime is beginning to happen. It says the power of rule or government, the power of him whose will and commands must be submitted to by others and obeyed. All right. And that's the power that they have. All right. Which they rule it tells you that in Isaiah the 14th chapter, he who ruled the nations in anger, with his relentless tyranny, because that's basically what it is. And now we're under a complete dystopian Orwellian world. It's going to be illegal for you to have your own thoughts, to use critical thinking. Anything that you say, if it goes against the status quo, or your government, is considered They can basically label you a terrorist, you know? So they want you to obey, submit to them. It says universally, all right? And that's why you see in all these other nations up under this beast adopting a similar system, okay? So let me go from there and go back. Now let's go to Mark 10. It says exercise lordship. And it's from two root words. You have kata, which means down from, throughout. And then you have kurio. And it says to be lord of, to rule, have dominion over, of things and forces, to exercise influence upon, to have power over, all throughout. Okay? To bring under one's power, to subject oneself, to subdue, master, to hold in subjection, to be master of, exercise lordship over. All right, and our master is in heaven, man. That's our master. But Esau wants to be your master. All right? Down here it says exercise authority. Katex kat exa siadzo. Kat exo siadzo. And it says to wield full privilege over, exercise authority. All right, so this is how Esau showing his power, man. All right, he signed these legislations. He decree unrighteous decrees, to take away your rights. He framed mischief by law. And so the world is under that same influence of the beast, which is why you see in all these other nations adopt to it. Okay. Hence Mexico. And I went to ChatGPT and I asked for other countries that are having these type of programs rolling out as well. Right? You'll see that it's all type of countries is jumping on the bandwagon. So let me finish this out.
By 2026, it will be an essential requirement to carry out educational, medical, legal, or financial procedures, as well as to access social programs. There are currently 145 pilot modules distributed throughout the country, hosted in RENAPO and civil registry offices, where you can start the process by presenting an official ID, your traditional CURP, proof of address, and an active email address. Although the traditional version is still in effect, this transition aims to ensure that in the coming years all Mexicans will have their updated CURP.
And so there's more to come. All right, this is the phase that it's in right now, but it's going to evolve into, you're going to have something physically read on your body in order for it to be read and accurate. Okay. So we're here, man. We're definitely here. Now, I did this. I just typed in the chat GPT. It says, what are all the countries that are using digital IDs and currencies? It says, here's a summary of which countries are using or developing both digital IDs and digital currencies, specifically central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. It's not a complete list of all countries, but it gives a good overview of the global landscape with credible data. All right, because it's going to be a worldwide thing, and eventually when the MOTB, because you already have it, happening in certain countries. Sweden, they said 1,000 people received micro C-hips already, and those C-hips already serve as digital IDs and their digital currency. All right, so they're already ahead of the game over in Sweden. Right, Revelation 3:10, and it says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. And I believe this is in an oikomene sense and not the cosmos. Yep, oikomene. All right, which basically means the inhabited earth. So this is going to be a global situation. All right. He calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma. All right. And the ultimate judgment of receiving that, if you're in Babylon, is you're going to be wiped out along with Babylon. You're going to be partakers of, that lake of fire. Because a lot of these people are going to wander after the beast. They're going to see how convenient it is. They're going to see it as an upgrade, physically, mentally. They're going to, treat it with the same admiration, they show for an idol. Okay. That's where AI is, getting this glory from, the abilities and the lying wonders, the power that it holds. So people are going to be tested with this. It says many countries have national digital identity or EID systems in place or being rolled out. For example, Estonia has a mature EID system, e-residency national digital ID card, in use for many services. Denmark and Norway. So basically all throughout Europe, of course, says have high adoption of a EID systems. Denmark's MidID covers 90% of the citizens for public and private services. Everybody's this is all part of the transition. Everybody must get on board. All right. Now, the digital ID itself is not the MOT to the B, but it's the conditioning, the transition into that system. All right. The moment they make it to where you have to physically put something in your body, and, if you don't have it, you'll be phased out, cut off from fellowship of participation in this system to be able to live. That's where the temptation comes in, and you don't want to take it, or that would be you siding with the beast. All right. So if we all gotta, get a digital ID to, get on the internet or to continue to go to work, you're gonna do that until they say, all right, you gotta there's a breaking from from up top, like that the man that came out and basically told everybody in the UK that they must receive a digital ID or they won't be able to go to work, they won't be able to do this or do that. It will be only a matter of time before they say, all right, everybody must get this implant, whether in your hand and in your head. All right. Everybody must get this operation in order for you. It's going to be a requirement if you want to continue to, do your daily activities, and get access to all your necessities. All right. When it starts to get like that, that's when you move on faith. All right. You denounce it all, and then you become, like it says in Second Ezra's, was it the 16th chapter? Get you ready to the battle and be even as pilgrims upon the earth. Don't worry about nothing else, man. Let the Lord, guide you. Let the angels of the Lord, guide your every move at that point, and trust in Him. Because these people, man, they still trust in oppression. Like it tells in Isaiah about our people, man. Because you trust in oppression and perverseness and stay thereon. Because they trust their enemy. And the scriptures say, never trust thine enemy. I did the lesson about the idea behind UBI, universal basic income, and it's not because he's trying to show humanity, you know. He's not trying to show compassion on the poor with that system, you know. This man, he got all type of tricks up his sleeve, but anything that he does, you know, it's always with evil intentions. Remember, this is the serpent going back to the garden, man. It was more subtle than any beast of the field. Let me get this in Isaiah though, Isaiah 10. Because only a remnant is gonna, you know, completely walk away from this beast, this devil, you know, this system. And they're going to put their full trust in Yahweh Shem Yahushai. It says Isaiah 10:20, and it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel, all right, you know, the Lord said, I have 7,000 men that will not bow their knee to the image of Baal, right? And such as are escaped of the house of Jacob shall no more again stay upon him that smote them, but shall stay upon the Lord, the Holy One of Israel in truth. All right. The remnant shall return, even the remnant of Jacob, unto the mighty God. For though thy people Israel be as the sand of the sea, yet a remnant of them shall return. And that says a lot, because Israel's as the sand of the sea. It's so many of us worldwide. But it's only going to be a few, all right, out of the majority that's going to, you know, they're going to wake up. You know, they're going to repent from their heart. And they're going to seek the Lord 10 times more. All right. And, you know, by default, they're going to be believers of Yahweh Shai, you know, his mission, his death, his resurrection, his return, and etc. Their faith, which is a gift, you know, they will all have. So it's going to be a vast minority that's going to turn away from this whole system. They're not going to be wandering after the beast. All right. They're not going to fall for the miracles, the lying wonders, the signs, and the power. All right. We look up that word stay. And the word is sha'ain. And it says to support oneself, lean, lie, rely, rest. All right. And when he saw, you know, because right now he's he's making the people suffer, you know, with this government shutdown, the big beautiful bill, you know, where they just making all these cuts. And it's it's hurting a lot of people that were reliant upon the government. You know, SNAP, you know, people basically finna lose it, you know, just with this with Trump's snap. You know, they snap and now the people are bugging out. You know, come November, your benefits are going to stop or are going to be halted. You know, people losing their shit, getting online, talking about what they're going to do, criminating themselves, because they really lean on and support and trust in this devil, man, this system. The very same system that's going to eventually require them to register their forehead or their hand, all right, as an identity marker into this system. All right. So they're leaning heavily for support on the enemy who's been smiting us the whole time. And our people, you know, they have no idea that, you know, it's not supposed to be this way, not forever. This is not the end all be all. We have a world that's getting ready to come after this. But, you know, Jake too busy being, you know, foundational Black Americans, you know, tied into this, you know, world that they have no idea that, you know, this is not our rest. This was one big prison camp for us. This was never our rest to begin with, because we were brought over here to serve punishment and to have to undergo all this oppression. So these remnant, they're going to wake up and no longer lean upon this man. They're going to lean upon Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. All right. And our identity is, we're the children of the Most High. We're the sons of God. All right. Yashar Allah, he is a prince of the power. And our God is the Most High. That's who we serve. That's who we worship. Okay. Not this man's system. All right. Fuck him and everything that he represents. So going back here, it says several EU countries, Germany, Italy, Spain, these are all different heads of the beast, have national EID schemes recognized under EU regulation for cross-border usage. In Asia and elsewhere, Singapore uses SingPass. South Korea has launched a smartphone-based digital ID. Malaysia, Vietnam, and others are implementing digital IDs. And there's way more countries, all right, that are, rolling out these type of programs. Digital currencies. It says on the digital currency front, only a small number of countries have fully launched retail CBDCs. Digital fiat money issued by the central bank and available to public. For instance, Bahamas launched the Sand Dollar. Jamaica launched the Jamdex. Nigeria launched the E-Naira. Zimbabwe also has a launched CBDC ZIG, according to one source. Many more countries are in pilot development or research phases. For example, over 130 countries are exploring CBDCs as of 2024. All right. So, hey, it's a global trend, because they'll let you know where we're at and where everything is heading. Okay. The vision is for an appointed time. Okay. And then countries using both. Putting the two together, here are some notable countries that have digital ID systems and are active in CBDC development launch. China has a digital ID infrastructure and is deeply engaged in a digital yuan pilot. And they also got the social credit system out there too, where there's a lot of people that are pretty much that have low credit because of societal norms. If you break some of those rules over there, like let's say, for example, if you worship Chesre, if you a Christian in China, you probably got a low score. And if you got a low score, there's only so much you can do, to the point where you'll be phased out and you'll end up homeless. Because they showed you, they showing you, all right, what it's going to be like. All right, how you could be phased out. Let me see. Yeah, let me just do this.
They didn't go broke, they got deleted. In China, tens of thousands of young people are suddenly homeless, not because of money, but because the system erased them.
Imagine a society where everything you do, everything you say, and everything you buy.
In China, this is the model. This is what they wanted. This is part of the reason why everybody has to adapt, this biometric system. This is another form of lordship and control, man. Everybody must comply. Everybody must obey. This is straight up a prison world, man. Remember what Klaus Schwab said? He said that he wants the world modeled after China. He liked what they're doing in China, and he wants the world to be modeled after it. He said that at a World Economic Forum. Look how they living in China.
Is controlled and evaluated by the authorities. This is what the Chinese Communist Party calls social credit.
By using the mechanism of social credit, we'll be able to establish a blacklist of people and create a system of punishment that will be based on a scientific theory. These punishments will serve as a whip to rebuild moral values. Our society needs it.
The country's social credit system decides who's trustworthy, but if you're blacklisted, it's game over. Your WeChat.
Go watch that episode Noah's Dive on Black Mirror. All right, they showed you from the European standpoint. Everybody was doing their best to basically get good reviews so that their points would only increase so that they can have more privileges. So basically, you got to walk on eggshells. You basically got to be fake. You gotta be politically correct. The moment you step out of the boundaries, you getting negative reviews and you're losing points. And the more points you lose, the more privileges you lose as well. It will basically freeze you out. So just imagine when the MOTB comes. Aaron Roos already told you in that interview that they'll, you act up, you protest, or you try to do something, they just turn it off. They turn your C-hip off, and you won't be able to do nothing. This is where they want it. All right? Digital lordship.
Pay stops working, you can't receive your salary, can't buy food, can't even book a train ticket. It's like being alive, but digitally. Many are now sleeping in the streets, cut off from everything. Jobs, housing, even communication. All because one app, one algorithm decided they don't belong.
It's not science fiction. In China, it's a reality. Then there's the public shaming. Photo galleries of blacklisted citizens. There's even an app that shows who around you is in debt.
They're not criminals. They didn't steal, cheat, or harm anyone. They just fell too low on a score and vanished from the digital world. Critics say it's a glimpse into the future where technology doesn't just track your life, it controls it. So ask yourself, if your entire life depended on your digital reputation, how long before you get deleted?
Bam. Just like that. So Esau would have the authority. All right. He would have the authority, the power to do this, just through this system that he's developed. All right.